All right, everyone. Welcome to my class. I believe it's the first English-speaking class that I openly present to the English-speaking world. And we made a history as we go, right? The method was born about 5 years ago in Russia by a remarkable man called Pavel Piskarev. He invented Neurographica because of his background of being architect, psychologist, and philosopher. He just combined everything together, all his knowledge and all his spiritual practice, in order to create this method to help people to go through the life challenges, to work on the emotional issues, and also to model life and set our goals in life, whatever we want to achieve. So the method is really working, and I know a lot of you are going to be watching and recording because a lot of you travel from work. But anyways, I know it doesn't matter either you watch live or in recording, you still get the same kind of benefit out of the class. So as I said, the method was developed about 5 years ago. It was developed in Russian language, and now it is spreading all over the world. People in Austria, in Switzerland, in France, in Canada, basically the method started to spread like really became viral in many languages right now. So I know people are teaching in German wildly, and also people teaching in French language, in Hebrew. And now I think my mission as an instructor of Neurographic of the past year is to build a school, Neurographic Americas, to help people around the world to learn about the method. And I know most of the world speaks English, so we do have advantage here, spreading the news and transmitting the knowledge of Neurographica all over the world. Welcome ones who are staying with me today. I guess it's always nice to have several people in the class in order to have some feedback and some sort of communication. Right now, everyone is staying muted. I will unmute everyone after the class so we could talk a little bit. And maybe if you have any questions, you can always ask me. But for now, I just want to transfer to my drawing field. I will be talking about the method, showing the basic details of the method while we're going to be drawing already. So in order for us to do today's class, you have to know very basics, right? Otherwise, you would not know what you're doing. And for that, that's what I would like to do, just to start with that, and then we'll move on to the actual class. So just give me 1 second. I'm going to transfer to my other camera just to get ready for drawing. And you guys, if you have your pencils, if you have your markers, your mixed media paper, or any kind of paper, you can just get everything ready so you can start drawing with me. Thank you, and I'll see you in 1 second. All right. You see those little hearts. I just want to kind of bring the energy up, just kind of like bring us to the mood for Valentine's Day, because that's what we're going to be working today on, creating patterns of love and see how we can improve relationship with ourselves, with our families and our partners and so forth. So I think it's just kind of cute, and they all made with felt, and they feel very nice when you hold them, and you know, and like really feeling them between fingers. All right, so let's just start with the very basics. You can use any markers. I really like medium-sized points. Here I'm showing Papermate markers. You could see the size of the tip. You see, it's not really thin and it's not really thick, and I like the lines that it makes. So I used to use different markers before, but now those are cheap and they really work very well. So I kind of switched towards these markers. And I see Baha is here. Hi, Baha, I see you. All right, guys. So let's just learn about few basics that we're going to be using in the class. They will help you to get familiar with the method, right? And just to give me 2 seconds just to show you some work done in this remarkable style of Neurographica. Before we even start, I just want to show you a couple of my works so you could see what you can do with this method. You can create mandalas, you can create some patterns. You see they all have this kind of flow because Neurographic is all about flow. It's all about creating images that really living and breathing images that can continue into infinity and beyond. So there's another drawing. And here's another one. Let me just put it in the right way. Here we've been defining goals, putting them on timelines. Here's another one, very similar to the previous one. You can also create very beautiful flows just like that. You could see how all the lines flow to one direction. What else you could do? You could create some setting your goals and working on your life challenges and so forth, just to give you a feeling how a neurographic pattern could look like, right? So at least you have some understanding. And you could see my work on my Facebook page, Amarna Neuroart. Amarna Neuroart. I'm going to write it down in the chat a little bit later, where I have a lot of work to show. And also my website, amarnaneuroart.com, where I'm sharing the work of myself, of my work, and the work of my students. Here's another image of Neurographica. So that's what we're going to be basically working on today, using simple forms, shapes, and lines. And just to give you a brief understanding what Neurographica ABC is all about. We're using very simple forms, and one of them is neurographic line. And the definition of neurographic line is that it goes where we don't expect it to see, and it also doesn't create any patterns on its way. So when you look at this line, you could see that this line flows like a river, and we don't really know where it's going to end. So opposite to this kind of pattern, right, you know there is a repetitive element and you know where it moves. Here, you don't really know where you're going with that. You just slowly move your hand to the left, to the right, right? You don't create any repetitive elements, and you just flow, and you don't know where you're going to end. You don't know. All right, so that's what makes Neurographic line is a unique line that is basically designed to create that living and breathing flow. See, like I don't really even know where I'm going to end up. All right, so somewhere here. So this is the first element, right, that we're going to be using. This work requires some practice. So you could try right now, take piece of paper and your marker and just try creating something like that, very fluid, right? It goes to the left and it goes to the right. It crosses also other lines. It creates curves. It never creates points like this. This is not neurographic line. Some people do this, right? By this, you're only creating something that is not really bionic. It's more like something that comes from the sense of anxiety and not belonging. So we're not really using this kind of line. The line has to be very smooth and it has to flow, right? And it is connected with your breath, right? If you go up, you just take a deep breath and let it go, and then just draw your line up. And same with going down, you exhale and you move your hand, and then breathe normal and just move down. That's how a neurographic line looks like. There is another element of Neurographica called circle, right? And everyone knows how a circle looks like. It's just, it's a shape that actually contains all shapes of the world. In sacral geometry, they're using circle as the main figure. And if you think about any other figure can fit into this, right? And I'll explain you what I'm doing here, why I'm doing the circling around the lines and so forth. I'm going to explain you a little bit later. So we're using some other forms as well, geometrical forms like square. And square represents something very stable, like a table, right? Something that you lean on, something you can really rely on. And squares are the figures that we usually use when we want to provide some sort of stability for anything that we're working with. Opposite to circle, circle is basically everything, right? You can use circles in Neurographica for anything that you could think about, right? But some other shapes are used for the certain purpose, like square or triangle. Triangle is another shape that we use in Neurographica. And triangle in Neurographica is for action. It is a verb, right? Like travel, practice. I mean, those are nouns, but they really associated with some sort of action. And in this case, triangle is looking up, looking towards the sky, right? Triangles can also look from past to the future, just like that, right? When we're going from the left to the right, basically we're pointing triangle, looking to the future. And triangle, you have to be really careful with triangle because triangle has a dual meaning. It could be an action, but it could be also aggression. It could be something that really causes some conflict and so forth. So, you know, use triangles in moderation. Some people like to use triangles when they need to raise their energy. Let's say if you feel kind of low after working hard during the day, then you would use triangles just to bring up your spirit. And you would use circles when you feel blue, right? When you feel blue, you just, all you want to do is to draw circles and then make them as circular as possible. You could just use circles just like that. And believe me, if you draw a lot of circles all over the place, all over your paper, you're going to start kind of uplifted and happy, and it's going to bring your mood up. So those are the basic elements. We also have spiral, but we're not talking about spiral here. It's not a basic element. It requires some understanding. And what we also do in Neurographica, we are using rounding between the figures and objects. And for the rounding, we're using this technique where we are adding some half circular shapes here, right? If you think about it, it's like you are adding circles. You see that? And then you color it. Then you color it. You basically don't draw these lines, but you imagine them to be there. So, and you make it really neat, just like that, okay? And that's what I'm doing here. If you take a look at this, in Neurographica, what we're saying that crossing lines and shapes really create some sort of conflict, and we need to smooth it out. We need to create neurographic pattern by creating these circular connections. It's like you are putting together pieces of the whole, and you using the rounding technique to bring all pieces of your pattern together. You see how cool it looks? And another rule that we need to remember, we have to always move the angles of triangles and square just like that, right? And we never leave any hanging corners in Neurographica. We always connect them to other lines or towards the edges of the paper. I'm giving this to you because I know people who are already attending, and Baha and Anne, they all started with me, and I know for you it's not new, but for people who's going to be watching and recording, they would probably wonder what these lines are all about, why they see this the circular connections between objects, right? I just want to give them ABC of Neurographica so they would understand what we're doing in the class, right? And again, Neurographic, I already said that it was created about 5 years ago by a brilliant Russian philosopher and architect and psychologist, and now it's spreading all over the world. And my mission is just to spread it in English language as well as in Russian language all over the world. So that actually concludes the basics that I just wanted to show in order for us to start the actual class. But the idea for today's class is to work on relationships, right? And I think because Valentine's Day is coming, let me just quickly show you what I have here while I'm looking for paper. Valentine's Day is coming. We really want to create harmonious relationship with our loved ones, with ourselves, with our friends, family, partners, our lovers, whoever you can think of. So let's just take a blank, a multimedia paper, and I'm going to be using red marker. Why? Because red marker is the marker of love, of passion, right? I really would like to use it, be mine. All right. So just to bring the mood up and also energy up when you're using red marker, so you remember, or like really bright orange marker, definitely your energy will go up. All right. So let's start. So we're going to be working on the patterns of love, and you can create this mandalas. Basically, the reason why I'm saying mandalas is because we're going to be working in kind of like a circular way. It's not a real mandala, but mandala-like drawing. And you could use it for any type of relationship with your boss, with your husband, with your kids, with your in-laws, your parents, your neighbors, and so forth. So you could think about anything at this point. Some people just have a lonely life. They live by themselves. They don't have anyone. They don't have kids. They don't have loved ones. But they have friends, and maybe they have parents, or they have good neighbors that they spend time together. But still, like, let's say they really want to create a new relationship with opposite gender, or sometimes same gender, really. Then there is something that I'm going to show you how you can work with this algorithm by just placing certain shapes and connecting them with the lines. You could learn how you can actually work on relationships. All right, so everything begins with us, right? We are the center of the universe because everything else is either belongs to us or something that we are dreaming about, something that we really want to achieve in life, and so forth. So for that reason, I'm going to be working with myself. We're always honestly working with all the teachers of Neurographic, honestly working with our own relationship. So I'm going to be placing myself in a circle shape here, somewhere closer to the center. And look how I'm doing it, right? I'm drawing a circle. I'm trying to make it as perfect as possible, and you should do too. And then what I'd like to do, I'd like to draw a neurographic line around this circular shape, just like that, right? Just like that, just to make it a little bit more activated. And you know, wherever I have some imperfections, I can always correct them by going over them with my marker, all right? So this is me. You can actually put your name here. I'm going to put my name, Margarita. Okay, this is me, right? So now when I'm saying work on the relationship, the first person that comes to my mind is my husband. I really want to harmonize my relationship with him. It is beautiful. We've been together for almost 5 years already. And for me, it is significant that I have a person like this in my life. So I would really want to first indicate him. And for some reason, you know, you really work intuitively where you want to place the next person on the paper. So I would like to add him here as my significant one. And again, I need to work on perfecting the circle, just like that, right? And that's how he looks like, okay? And you think about who you want to place first. Your significant person could be your mother, it could be your kid, anybody you could think about could take that place, right? And I'm just gonna put husband here, and you just mark your person. You see how it's interesting already what we see here from neurographic perspective. When we put one object higher than another one, you give enough significance to that object. Like I put my husband a little bit higher than me, right? But his shape is smaller. So this is something already from diagnostic perspective tells me how I feel about him, right? I feel myself as a bigger figure in the family, but I also regard him high and I respect him a lot. So that I believe that's the reason why I placed him here, okay? Let me think who else I can add. I can add my son, and I really want to cross him here. You see, you can also cross any people that you're placing on the paper that you could basically show how much you connected. It's interesting that these two figures didn't cross. It's like we exist, but here we have a much closer connection because he's my son. And I feel like he's my blood and my soul. He's also smaller than me. You also watch how big you draw your kids or your husband or your parents or anybody else that you're working with, right? So I can put my son, right? I also have stepdaughter. She now lives with us. I want to add her as well. Interestingly, also placing her next to my son. She's been with us for several months. So really lovely lady. She's very helpful and we love her. I love her as my daughter. But you see like the blood connection really shows here how much involvement I have with my son versus my husband and his daughter, right? That's interesting, and just showing you how you will watch, how you placing your figures on the paper, right? So I'm going to be putting daughter, stepdaughter. All right, so who else can I place here? My mother. My mother is also, she's the significant other because she's getting older. She's almost 84. And, you know, for me, I feel like, you know, really the connection wasn't that close over my entire life. But now when she gets older and she needs me more than anybody else, because I'm the only one who lives close to her, I feel like we're getting close because of that. So my mother is here. Who else can I place here? I'll place my sister, also blood connection, you know, here. See, like my mother, for some reason we didn't cross, but my sister, I really want to cross with me because we have so many differences. We have both strong personalities, but there's a lot that needs to be done in order for us to become closer. Yet I'd like her to be closer to me. That's why I'm kind of connecting her and crossing with her. Okay. Who else should I put here? And who else should you put there? You could have your father. My father passed away, so I don't have him here. But my connection with him is still there. So probably I should place my father, although he no longer with us. He passed away about 10 years ago. I just want to place him right on top. I don't know, for some reason I just feel like that. I guess because I look so much like him, because his genes really, I actually inherited his genes where my sister inherited my mother's genes. It's interesting how it works within the families. So I place him on top of me. So you could also place the ones that you lost, your parents, your significant ones. They they're still present in spirit, regardless whether or not they exist in our material world. So it doesn't matter, you can add them. And let's say if you don't have anybody, let's say you're absolutely lonely and you don't have anyone to share your love with, or if you have, let's say, kids and parents, and you've got a wonderful boss and you've got everything, but you don't have a significant other, what you could do, and I'm going to do it here, right? You could create a placeholder. You could create a placeholder and just you could name it unknown partner, or unknown lover, or even unknown husband. You see, like my son, he doesn't have a girlfriend, and I really want him to have a nice girlfriend who would love him. I'm not surprised I'm putting this right next to him. Unknown, right? And when you're going to be starting putting connections with through neural lines, you should start thinking about how you want this unknown look like. It could be your future boyfriend, could be your future girlfriend, maybe even your future spouse, who knows? But we could also add that unknown here, right? Let's see who else we can add. So unknown is here. It could be a couple of unknowns. It could be unknown spouse, and it could be unknown manager or boss. Could be also here. Let's say you want to change your job, and because you don't like your manager, or because you really want to have somebody who you can really work well together, you could put unknown boss, right? Unknown partner. So it's totally fine adding unknown people here who you would really like to connect to. And then, sorry. Sorry, I apologize. All right, so I added unknown figures, and you also do so. And now what I'd like to do, I'd like to add my friends, my community. I do have a large community of females called Amarna Sanctuary. For me, it's very important. And you see how interesting where I'm placing it. Everything what I'm doing, the places where I add my circles, they all, I'm putting intuitively. And then I notice it's between me, my father, and my mother. Look how interesting it is. From the diagnostic perspective, when we look at that, we're like, wow, why would I place the circle here or there? But here I can see why, because it's all connected with my childhood, with the desire of having beautiful girlfriends who I can share my secrets, who I can spend beautiful time with. So I'm putting it here, right? So what else I want to add here? I want to add maybe some business partners, right? Because I bought a land to build a retreat center, and now I need some financial support in order to build beautiful retreat center. And for that, I would just add those partners here and create a pattern of love and understanding. You know, Valentine's is not all about lovers and romantic relationships. You know, I think that's why we have so much of anti-Valentine, is because a lot of people got hurt with some exes, and relationships don't work out, and everyone goes and celebrate with beautiful red roses. They go to a restaurant, and what about you know, people who don't have relationships right now, and people who are really hurt somehow? So for them, it's like non-existent holiday. And I personally don't like to have the idea of anti-Valentine, to be honest, because love is not only about sexual relationship. It's not always about building family and so forth. It's first of all, it's mostly about self-love. And when we love ourselves deeply, we can celebrate that. That's already a good reason to do that, right? So right now I'm just putting figures, right, together. So you can always add your love for some activities. Like I really like to travel, and we know that triangles are basically something that emphasize movement, and they actually they may have triangle shape, but they can have a rounding shape. It really depends how you're gonna enter them on the paper. But for me, it's a movement, so I'd like to have a triangle in my composition here. All right, so I think for me, I have added everything that I wanted. I forgot about my grandfather, actually. My grandfather played significant role in my life. He actually, um, um, when I was little, I spent a lot of time with my grandparents, and he used to take me to doctors. He used to study with me. So I really want to add him here just to kind of acknowledge him. He passed away when he was 99, God bless his soul. And his life was really beautiful and spiritually charged. And I think he really influenced a lot of me being into spirituality so much. So I just want to add him here. And I'm going to name it grandfather. And because everything starts with us, right? Everything really starts with us. We are the center here on the paper. And we can always add some other people or things that we love to do, or we can always add our friends here. This is a community. Maybe I should acknowledge my friends as well, because they really play a significant role in my life. So for me, there are circular shape people who I have fun with, people who I go out. So I'm really feeling blessed that I have beautiful friends that I can spend time with. See, when I mentioned that we're going to do mandala, like that's exactly what's going on. So we put ourselves in the center, and then we drew everything going around and adding some other shapes and so forth. So now all I need to do is to interconnect all of this objects on the paper. And I don't want to just connect and round. I really want to think about it. All right, if I'm rounding myself with my sister, right, I really want to think about that. We're going to gain a better understanding of each other and appreciate each other's much more than we do right now, right? We have ons and offs, and because she has such a strong personality, sometimes she hurts me, I hurt her, and we just need to balance our lives together. So, and then I just want to go ahead and circle the whole pattern. So all objects are together with that rounding shapes that create neurographic pattern here. And you see, you have to do this really neat, because if you're not doing it neat, it's not going to look nice, and then you're not going to like your drawing. So try make it really nice and very neat. And if for some reason it doesn't come out neat, you can always correct it by adding the thickness of the line, right? So let's just do that. And I really started to feel like, oh my God, I have so many people, and I have my community, and I have my relatives and my friends and my family to be thankful for. They really make my life shining. I don't know what I would do without them. I don't know. I would probably be lonely. I would probably not to be as creative as I am now, because they feed me with their energy. They really give me courage to live and to experience life. So that is why, now, like when I'm rounding, lots of thoughts coming through my head that actually I've been extremely blessed with having all of these people in my life. And sometimes we have uneasy feelings when we add certain people. Let's say some people do not have a good relationship with their husbands, although they live together for years. Some spouses are abusive, both male and female. I heard lots of terrible stories about it. Some partners cheating on each other and things like that. So, but we learn how to improve it, right? Right now, we're just rounding everything, and we're trying to create this unified pattern of love among all the components of the drawing to create that one unified pattern here. And then we talk about how we can improve relationships. Right now, it's just technical work, and also while we're doing technical work, we contemplate on what we have and how we connected with all components of this drawing. And I hope you do too. When you round, some emotions may start coming out. Like, let's say, when you remember somebody who passed away, you may become sad, right? Or like you remember that somebody hurt you from the perspective, like the husband or your kid, or somebody could say something nasty to you and then you wouldn't feel good. And all of these negative emotions may come out at this point. So we welcome them. We're saying, maybe it's better that they're coming out here while I'm drawing it, so I can work on that. I can really process it, because what we're doing here is the process work, right? While we're rounding and while we laying out our pattern, we are thinking and contemplating. And I really want to encourage you to write on top of every figure, so you could have an understanding and also remembrance of where everything is, because it's very easy to forget in Neurographica who's who and why they're there, why they're not in a different place, right? So that's what we're trying to achieve here by going over all the figures and acknowledging our relationship with everything what we drew so far. Okay, so try to round everything, and through this rounding you could see that everything started to kind of being gluing together, right? Nothing exists separate anymore. They all, with this rounding kind of, they became all part of each other. All the components, all elements of this drawing already started kind of like coming together and creating this one mandala of love put together in one drawing, right? Okay, and now what I'd like to do here, first of all, I don't like any hanging corners. So what I'd like to do with Neurographic line, I want to connect all hanging corners towards the end of my paper. And we keep in mind that end of paper is not the end of the drawing. We can always add paper all over the page, right here and there and on the top. And with that, we can always continue working on our drawing. Just think about large scale work. Let's say if you would need to do it on a wall, you can always add some more figures, and maybe later when you finish your drawing, you would be able to add more figures after that. Sometimes we forget the most important people in our lives. You know, we added everyone, but when we're looking at the drawing, like, wait a minute, I forgot somebody is really significant in my life. And sometimes it's unexplainable. You know, people saying, oh, maybe you forgot this person because this person is not good enough for you or something like that. Yes, possible. But sometimes we just forget, you know. Please remember, today is a working day and lots of people still traveling back from work. I'm just lucky enough to work from home most of my time, for now at least. So, and let's just add, like, let's pretend it is the center of this whole drawing. I'd like to start drawing the lines coming from here towards all the components of the drawing, just to create the pattern, right? I need to connect everyone through these lines. So everyone is connected with me. Those lines are coming from me. They're going down, and they are connecting with everyone who are laid out on the paper. See that? Everything is coming from the center of me. Oh my God, I feel like so much like my heart started pumping. This red color and the feeling that I'm the center of this whole thing it's just gave me that feeling that a lot of things depend on me, you know, and you know, love is not given for granted. You really need to give love in order to receive love. And sometimes we have a tendency that, oh, why we don't have a significant one in life, or why we don't have good people in our lives, and so forth. You know what? The wise people saying, give more love and you shall receive, right? And that's what my mentality is. How can I bring significant people to my life is by really spreading love all over the world. And that's what I'm doing with Neurographica right now. That's my whole idea for our Neurographica community, is to spread the ability for people to heal and love themselves and love other people by using such a simple tool. Some people can't believe it. They're saying it's too simple to believe that with this tool you can really make a change. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. And I prove myself over and over and over again that you can. And here we work in basic. What are we working? We're working with energies. It's like doing Tai Chi, Qigong on a paper from the center of our heart, right? I could really, what I could do here, I could just draw a heart shape here, right? And you can do too, if it's going to add some feeling of increased love, right? You could do too. And then from that love, you could just connect with everyone else, just with everyone else. And if you need to connect people here, you could always, let's say, if I want to connect my son with my husband, I can also draw from him to my husband, right? Or I want to connect my stepdaughter with my son, I would do just like that, right? You see what I'm doing? So one thing is to connect through your heart, from the center of your heart, with other people, but you can also connect other people together. Like my mother and father, they never lived good together. They always argued and so forth, but they lived together for 50 years anyway, until my father passed away. So this connection was never broken by my father leaving physical world. She still remembers him. She cries when she thinks about him passing away and all of that. So connections are there. It's just the quality of connections. We never really understand the quality until we lose someone, and then we feel kind of heartbroken sometimes, right? And guess what? Now we need to round all of this. We need to round this whole thing. And we say in Neurographica, the quality of your work is defined by the quantity of the lines. The more lines you draw, the more connections you make here, right? And that's what I'm doing right now, and you should do too. You'll see how this work is going to look like. It's going to be a beautiful drawing when you color it. When first you're going to round it, and then you're going to color it. You'll see how beautiful it's going to look like. And of course, during this class, it's going to be very difficult to finish it because there's so much to do here. But at least to get this feeling on how you should work towards connecting with people that you care about. Even these connections are not perfect, even if they're not imperfect. Look, I just want to quickly show you something, and then I'll come back to my original drawing. Let's say this is you, right? This is you. And then let's say you have someone, right, your partner, and for some reason you feel a little bit upset about him or her, and you feel like you're lacking love. Maybe there is an understanding and friendship, but there is no love. What you can do here, from the center of each figure, thinking about the heart to heart, right? You can, if it's easier for you, just create that, right? Just draw a little heart. What you could do, you could enhance the feeling of love coming from you to the partner, and from partner to you, just like that, right? And then let's say if you have children, you can add children here, right? you can really start just like that, by creating those flows of love, connecting both of you first, right? And each line may have a word associated: love, trust, right? Friendship, anything like that. And then you can add children, you can add anybody else that come to your picture, right? And again, same thing here. You could do just like that. I'm just showing how this algorithm works. And you know, in Neurographic, we're using algorithms as certain methods of drawing. In this way, in this drawing, we are using Neurographic of Relationships. That's the algorithm. And then you can create any pattern that you wish. You can have a neurographic line going all over, like really touching everyone here. You see that? So it could take any shape, any form. But here I just put everyone together, right? So we could have illustration on how you can work with everyone in your life, making everything work better for ourselves. And now, you know, when we round everything, first of all, it's going to look beautiful when we round. I can already tell you. It's going to look very beautiful. Why? Because, you know, the composition of what we put on the paper is good. It looks good already, right? And you also have so much here going on, right? It's not like it's only a few people, but you can work even with one person like this. You don't have to have everyone. Let's say if you have a challenge with someone in your family that you would like to really improve, you could just work with that person. Put yourself, like I showed you on this paper, put yourself, put another person, and just work. Work on your relationship. Create as many lines as possible to correct it. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm really trying to, and I hope you work with me as well. Hope you're drawing. I feel so much expanded when I start rounding. It just feels so wonderful, meditative. It just gives that sense that everything is going to be all right no matter what. In Neurographic, we try to round as much as possible. Like in this particular algorithm, if you round 80%, that should be fine. You don't have to round everything, but the more you round, the better you're going to feel. That's for sure. And sometimes, you know, what I do with drawings like that, I set them as a reminder for myself. Like I put them in front of me on my table, and sometimes I look at these drawings, and they remind me how much love I have in my life. I've done a lot of drawings. Believe me, it's not my first drawing for this algorithm. I've done so many of them. And for me, it's important that things are improving, if things are changing to the best, in a better way than it was. And if you really have a need to improve a relationship with anybody in your life immediately, if you draw every day thinking about this person with your full heart, right? Sometimes people have parents, older parents who are sick, or they really want to give them as much love as possible. You know, by doing that, believe me, they're going to feel that love. Because, as I said, we're working with the energies here. Don't just think that you are drawing, only drawing. Yes, you're drawing, but it's not only about that. It's also touching their hearts with this practice. And they need it. They really need, like people in our life, most of them need us to feel love towards them. Maybe sometimes they act inappropriate because they don't feel much love coming from us. Some people do that. Like little kids, you know, in school, boys sometimes trying to hurt some girls in order for them to pay attention to them. And it happens in adults' life as well. I've seen it. They would do anything to bring you attention. But in a lot of cases, it's coming from sense of loneliness, sense of not being understood, and so forth. So, and that's how we're going to be finishing this whole pattern. I would love to see your drawing. You can always send it to me on the Facebook. I'm Rita. My page is Amarna Neuroart. Same is for Instagram. I'm posting my drawings there as well. I just want to show you how we're going to color it. So let me just show you the pencils. You know, lately I'm using Prismacolor a lot. I used to use watercolor pencils, but because I don't have time really to draw so much, I just want to, I bought this high quality pencils, and I've also got gifts from different people knowing that they know that I'm actually drawing, so they gave me as a gift. So I have several sets like that. I'm using this, but you can use anything. Alona, I see your question about what's the name of algorithm. That's an algorithm of Neurographic of Relationships. So you could use that, or you could use any other color. So let me just show you how I would color that. In this case, people who's going to watch me in recording, people who know me, they know that I like coloring into the flow style, right? I don't like to color geometrical figures and so forth. But for this particular algorithm, what I would suggest, really color shapes, just for us to have a feeling, have a color connected to each person that we are placing on the paper, right? And what I'm going to do here, the way I would do it, I would color myself in red because I'm the one who's transmitting that love towards everyone else, right? So that's what I'm going to be doing here. And you know what, you don't have to only color with one color. What you could do, you could put orange right on top just to make it brighter. I'm going to show you how to do it. If you take orange color, you can make it brighter just like that, right? It's going to add some fire, right? And it gives you like a full feeling that you are burning with love, really. And that's how I feel, you know, it makes me smile. All right. And you also watch how you feel when you're going to color every object here. You just watch yourself how you feel towards that. Like for my husband, I really want to use a violet color here, like a bluish violet color. I don't know, on the camera it looks more like blue, but in reality it has a lot of the quality of the higher chakras. And my husband is a Qigong practitioner, so I practice with him, and I feel like we have a lot in common. So for me, he's more like my spiritual leader. He is my soulmate. And for me, it represents in the indigo. This color is like indigo mixed with violet. And for me, it's a perfect color to represent him. And that's what I would suggest, right? I would not color in this case as a flow. I would really go over every figure and kind of find the right color and ask yourself, why did I color this person in that color? Let's say when you're going to be coloring your kids, you may use some colors. Like my son, I really want to color in green because he's young. He just turned 19. Not that young though. You know, some people have smaller kids, of course, but for me, he's still young, and I guess he's going to be young forever for me, no matter how old he's going to be. And you see, I started to coloring just to show you how you would color that, right? Just to give you an idea, because it's a lot of work that needs to be done, and we only have 1 hour. So it's just for you kind of just to get an idea and then color and then send me your work. Or you know, some of you are my students and you're already in my groups. You can post there, right? That's how you should go with every object and color. Like my stepdaughter, I really want to use pink. I want to use pink, but this pink's giving me some orangey feeling. So do this. And for me, pink represents like a female kind of energy, and she's very feminine, very pretty woman. She's 20. And for me, it's kind of, okay, I'm really happy. I never had daughter, but now I have. It's wonderful. So you see that? You see how beautiful it all comes out. And I'm sure when you're going to be coloring everything, you will see how much you can actually achieve by using certain color, connecting that color with each person that you will have on the paper, right? And then what you could do, let me just show you, right? And then I'm going to open up for questions. What you could do, you could connect everything with either yellow, right? Something bright, because we really need to emphasize love. We need to emphasize how much love means for us. Enhance love, right? What you could do, you could just use yellow. And yellow is really popular in Neurographica. I'm going to just color this corner to show you. And you can go over your figures as well with yellow in order to connect certain patterns here. You see that? You can definitely do that. See, I just colored that part. And that's how you're going to go over the entire pattern. And don't forget to round everything first, right? And then color every shape, right? And remember that the shapes, you could use your colors and you could put one on top of each other, right? Let's say if it's blue, I can just go over everything what's already there and color it. You see what I'm doing? Just to give you an example of how you can work with colors. Don't be afraid to mix colors. Nothing's going to happen. It's going to give the whole drawing that unified kind of pattern feeling, that everything is connected here. You're overlaying colors, and by that, you're actually enhancing everything. So it doesn't look like so flat. It looks really more multi-layered or anything like that. You see that? How beautiful it is? And then you mix. If you use blue somewhere, use it somewhere else. If you use pink, then use pink somewhere else to create a beautiful drawing. So I'm going to be finishing this drawing, and I'm going to be putting it on my page, Amarna Neuroart. I'm going to just write the name of my Facebook page. And my website is also one word, amarnaneuroart.com, where I have works of my students and my own work and so forth. So, all right, so the finished piece will be shared, I hope by the end of the day today. And I'd like to see your finished pieces, so send it to me. I'll post it in the groups where you study with me. And I'm going to be switching to the actual screen in order to talk to you guys. Just give me 1 second. I'm going to disappear for 1 second and then reappear. Hi, guys. I'm going to mute you just to have a couple of words. How are you guys feeling about this algorithm? Anybody wants to say something? Any reactions? Have you tried working with me and drawing?
Yes, wonderful algorithm for sure.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Baha, that was you speaking, right?
No, that was Alina.
Oh, that was Alina. Hi, Alina.
Hello.
All right. Yeah, you know what? You really need to get used to kind of playing around on the paper when you're putting certain shapes and you connecting them with lines. It really requires time. It is kind of like semi-meditative practice. We're doing it fast because we only have 1 hour and it's an open class. But I do offer basic Neurographica classes They are certification classes in English and Russian. So I have separate classes in Russian and separate classes in English. So Anne is in English group with me. So if any of you want to get certified and learn about the basics and so forth and continue educating in Neurographica, you can ping me, join me. I will send you all the information. But it's just a nice practice, and it gives you an ability to improve your relationship with this particular algorithm with anyone that you wish to improve.
It's
All
also
right.
a stress relief exercise after a long working day.
No, that is for sure. Believe me, if you worked for, like, let's say some long hours, and then you are coming back home from work feeling extremely tired, you may not be able to do this algorithm in perfection. But anyways, you know, sometimes we just need to feel that we belong. Sometimes we need to feel that we have a family who can support us. Very easy. You could just take a piece of paper, maybe twice smaller, right? I use sometimes much smaller mixed media albums. I'm trying to find the size, the good size. Not next to me, but that kind of size, right? Comparing to this one. So you could use that size of album and just draw. You know, I do it all the time. I'm sitting at the meeting, instead of just getting stressed, and I'm listening, but I'm drawing my circles, and I'm also drawing my future events together. You can use the same algorithm to draw your future event. You put yourself in the middle. You draw everything what you plan for a week, let's say your classes, or maybe you have some things to go to, or you plan on traveling. You can do the same thing. You can use same shapes, and you could use the same lines and lay them down on the paper and interconnect everything with the lines and round and round. And then you will get a really, really nice feeling after that.
Rita, I have a question. This is Baha.
Sure. Yes. Hi, Baha.
Hi,
Yeah.
I have two technical questions.
Sure.
So when I draw a line, many times it's very faint, or when I do circle, if it's not the exact round shape, you keep circling around, but with a faint line that is kind of, it can disappear sometimes, because if it's a long line, how do you do I just go over it, or
you know what you could do? You could go over it again. That's number one. Or you can double it, right? So you have one line going like that. Then next to this line, very close, put another line. It's going to look thicker, and it's going to look prettier, actually, because right now I only use single lines, but you can actually use double lines or triple lines to make it brighter and visible.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And the second question is, I did not understand how to use triangles and squares in this particular algorithm, if it's just people and not.
Okay, right. So let me explain. So you could use, let's say for some people, a partner is a square. Why? Because they get financial support from the partner. They get emotional support. So when I work with people in classes, right, and I suggest circles, some people would tell me, you know what, I don't feel like my partner is a circle. He's more like a square to me. And they explain to me, they saying, oh, because I lean so much on him, or because he supports me financially, I don't work. I feel like I need to draw the square shape and connect my circle with his square shape in order to build a connection. Or for some people, maybe a triangle. Your partner could look like a triangle. Somebody who's always rushing somewhere, somebody who feels so energetic. So you could use that. Or if you want to use certain things, like you love to travel, and you're like, oh my God, I love to travel, but I can't because my work takes so much time, my family takes so much time. What you could do, you could draw triangles, right? Maybe several of them, and name them trip to Paris, trip on Bahamas, you know, trip there. And use yourself as a circle, and then with lines, connect yourself to those triangles. You see what I mean? So it really depends how you feel which shape to use for what. If it's an action or something that requires some sort of action, I would say use triangle. Use square when you need financial support, emotional support, something that gives you like stability. You know, we always use square when we need stability. That's how you can use that. But that's about it. It's very simple, actually. Is that
Thank you.
clear, Baha?
Yes, thank you.
All right. Anything else? But
I have a question.
yes, and
How about rectangle? You never mentioned about rectangle
we
shape.
don't use rectangles in Neurographica. We use squares, triangles, and circles. Why? Because we want to get with square, right? We really want to get to the level of stability. When you use rectangles, sometimes they're not very stable. And I see people doing it and then saying, oh my God, like it doesn't really, I don't even feel like it gives me sense of stability. That's why when we draw shapes, we always say, get as closer to original shape as possible. Don't use rectangles, don't use any other shapes, but circles, triangles, and squares.
How about spiral? You mentioned it in another class before.
Yes, spiral is a separate class. Actually, our teacher teaches 4 hours. So it requires 4 hours of the class to learn. You really need to know how to draw spiral right, this way or another way. Do you need to go from the center towards the expansion, or you should just go and kind of like go from outward position going towards the center, right? So it is about 4 hours of teaching class that we need to go through in order to use spiral. That's why I don't want to use spiral for that. It's just, you know, it's kind of, it's kind of advanced, let's put it this way. So when we learn basics, and specifically with the course that we're doing right now, then the spirals, maybe I'll do a separate 4 hours class just for spiral. Alona, you're telling me you cannot unmute yourself? That's interesting. Let me see. Yeah, I don't know why I can't unmute you. Oh yeah, and I unmuted you.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I was just wondering, with the triangles and squares in this particular algorithm, is it important to fade them away, these triangles, and or not really?
No. You don't need to really fade them away. What you could do, you could overlap the colors for sure, like I did with square, right? But make them visible. Everything, every figure in this algorithm should be visible, because you're really trying to establish connection with all the components that you put on the paper. So you don't really want to fade any of those, Hayadon. You don't really need to hide any of those. You really need to emphasize them. That's why I'm saying color. You see how I'm coloring it? Every figure should be colored in its own way, right? You could use same color for same figures, but don't just do like a flowing color. Every figure should have its own color. And then you're gonna start feeling connecting towards that person or event or something. See, like I wanted to color my husband into like a violet indigo, and it gave me like additional vibe towards him. I didn't color him in gold or orange. And then my stepdaughter, when I colored her with pink, it gave me the sense that she's ours, she's a girl, right? Made me smile. And my son is so green, right? For me, he's just like, you know, he's my son, he's my blood. And green color really emphasizes that he's my baby. So that's how you can always bring colors together with everyone that you have on your paper. And again, you don't have to lay everyone. I've done it for this particular workshop, so you guys know that you can actually add anybody or anything you want in this world. Isn't just one drawing. But if you really want to follow, let's say for Valentine's Day, right? We like to work with partners, a lot of us, with husbands, with lovers, whoever we have in our life. You take a piece of paper, you draw yourself, you draw him, and just go from him to yourself, then from yourself to him. Try to draw. Oh my God, it already gives me some nice sensation when I do it. And you will start feeling, some people don't feel so fantastic like I do. Some people have challenges, specifically when you've been married for a long time. People feel like, oh my God, where's my passion? We're like so much used to each other, how we can bring it up. That's how you can bring it up. Write on the paper, do it on the paper. Then really the real life will start showing results. At least that's what I see with my students. Okay. Anything else? Okay, guys, I want to thank you. You know where to find me. Alona, I don't know if we are friends on Facebook, but
Yes, we are.
we are. Awesome. So please get connected and send me your drawings. I'd like to see them. And I'm going to have more of such open classes. I really plan on providing a lot. I don't know about weekly, but bi-weekly, definitely. So come join me. I will always have a recording. And this recording is going to be added to my YouTube channel. Like if you go to YouTube and you type Amarna Neuroart, you already can find videos, specifically Russian speaking. I have mostly in Russian, but now I'm going to start adding both in Russian and English because I really want to spread the knowledge of Neurographica all over the world. So make sure you check out my YouTube channel, subscribe, and you will also always get a free video.
All right, thank you.
Sure. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for being with me. Looking forward to your drawings. And you have a wonderful evening.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye now.